Alright, welcome back everybody. This is Warcraft Nuts, and we're going to do a second video here. This will be part 2 on character creation, and today we're going to go through kind of just where we left off the other day on talent points. We're going to do professions, and we'll probably dip into add-ons a little bit, and we'll go from there. So the other character we have, we're going to do kind of a sidestep here, was a Night Elf Rogue for Season of Discovery. Now I went ahead and started a different character. This one's going to be an Undead Mage, as you can see. And for this one, I kind of wanted to come back to where I'm comfortable in the game. I love this character, this class, and this race. So this is kind of, you know, an ode to my first character, you know, in 2006, I think, when I started playing. But so I went ahead and leveled them up to level 10. Now, if you remember from the last video, I said at level 10 you start getting talent points. So we'll kind of go through that real quick, and then if you've noticed too, I've got some different add-ons here. This one is a damage counter. This one, the quest tracker, is a quest add-on. And we'll go from here. There's one here that's unit frames, which is this. So we'll kind of go deep into that, and I'll kind of show you the websites to go get those from, how to install them, and how to enable them in the game. Something, man, I wish I would have had 20 years ago when I started playing. That would have been huge. Back then you had to actually drag the folder into your different folders on Windows to get the add-ons to go in. It was crazy. So today it's a lot easier, especially with even more within. It's even a little bit easier to manage your add-ons. And then finally we'll go into professions. So if you look on the top right here on my screen, you'll see these looks like a flower, and then looks like a sword, and then a book here, and then a little blood droplet. So those are first aid, herbalism, and enchanting. So we'll kind of go through all of the professions, and there's quite a few. So anyway, we'll kind of dip right into the first little bit here, and this is going to be talent points. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is all these different pages, tabs you want to call them, in your character have got hotkeys. So like C opens up your character page. Okay, you can see your armor, you can see your stats. You know, O, that's going to open up your Blizzard friends list. So anybody you make friends with in the game, you request their friend, or you do it on battle.net, will show up in here. Now P is your spell book. Okay, this is like, so if you were the rogue like we did last time, it would show that, you know, Sinister Strike, that Eviscerate, that auto attack. Since this is a mage, it's a little bit different. Okay, now if you recall, the mage, like I said when we went through that, was Arcane, Fire, and Ice. So those are the three things here. We'll kind of go through a little bit of those too. So when we get into these, you can hit N once you hit level 10, and this little spell book down, or this little target thing right here is going to show up, and those are your talents. Okay, now every class is going to have 3 tabs. Okay, so if you're a warrior, you're going to have Fury, Arms, which are both DPS, and then you're going to have Protection. Okay, if you're a warlock, you're going to have Affliction, Demonology, and so on. For the mage, just like I said before, Arcane, Frost, and Fire. So if you look through some of these things, you're going to want to read what these abilities do. Okay, and you can obviously go out and go to Wowhead or Icy Veins or any other of 15 different sites to figure out a good build for your character. It's not a bad thing to do, considering you can find out easier ways to level quickly, especially in Classic, because it does take a while to level in here. It's not as easy as it is in retail, or as in, you know, the current War Within expansion. So when you get through, you can go through, look through some of these, and kind of see what they do. So like this one, Elemental Precision. This is specifically under the Frost tree. It reduces the chance that your opponent can resist your Frost and Fire spells by 2%. And you can see it's rank 0 out of 3. So you can put 3 talents in there. Now you can see right here, I've only got 1 talent point, right? So every level you're going to get a talent point. So you can allocate it to wherever you want. if you've got a build that was pre-made and you just want to punch it in and go nuts, go for it. That was the best thing about original WoW was you could tweak your talents. I mean, even ever so slightly, and you could have different outputs. You could have a raid challenge. You could have a PvP build. You could do all sorts of things. And PvP, if you guys don't know, it's player versus player. So there's battlegrounds where you can go and battle other players. So I would suggest if you want to do your own thing, go right ahead, go for it. If you want to respec, which is unlearning all your talents and starting over, so it'll give you all your talent points back and you can allocate them as you want. It's only, I think, 1 gold for the first time, and then I think it goes up to 5 gold every time after that. So it does cost you something. And I mean, I've got this guy up to level 10, and I've got a whopping 27 silver and 92 copper. So in Classic, the auction house was huge for for getting gold. Now I'm going to close this, and you're going to see this guy right to my left here. This is another quick thing about talents and training. So every probably 2 to 4 levels, you are going to want to go check with your trainer. Okay, each class has their own trainer. Now I'm going to open up the spellbook page. You can see the Arcane, Fire, and Frost, and you can see this. That was my Frost armor, rank 2. Frost Nova, rank 1. Frost Bolt, rank 2. So when you go to your trainer, say, I'm interested in mage training. Boom. Click on it, and this is going to give you all the spells that you can learn for that particular tree. So Arcane, there's a whole bunch. Right now, I could learn Arcane Missiles if I wanted to, at the cost of 2 silver. Okay? Conjure Food, Dampen Magic, all these different ones. So right now I could learn Fireball rank 2 if I wanted to. Now, if you want to, if money's not a thing, if you're farming and grinding and you've got tons of gold, go for it. Learn everything you want. But as a first time player, I would only kind of get the basics is what you need for leveling. I'm leveling as a Frost Mage. Frost Mages are really efficient at survivability. So you can slow your targets, you can freeze them. Fire does great output, great damage. It's got burn effect. Arcane is burst damage. It's great. But Frost has got really good survivability. Plus, it's got really good AoE, which is area of attack skills. So I would go through, and right now I've only learned the Frost ones that I wanted to. But like I said, this one you learn at level 14. So that's not for 4 more levels yet. So it's going to be a while. Blizzard, level 20. But in the meantime, Frost, look at that, rank 12. That's only 2 levels away. Or Fire, that's only 2 levels away. Arcane, 2 levels away. So usually every 2 to 4 levels, you're going to be able to learn something. Now, whether you want to use it or not, that's up to you. But we can go from there. So that was a lot to take in, I know. So, I mean, if you have to, go back, kind of re-listen to some of this stuff. And like I said before, if you want to just go find a talent build or, what spells you should be learning, you can look up guides for it. It is super handy. When I first started playing, I never did. I just kind of ran with it and did my own thing and kind of created the character that I wanted to. So you kind of follow the journey that you really, really want to. If you want to dive into this and just go kind of technical, go for it. If you want to play around with things and just have fun with it and see how your own ingenuity and build stacks up, go for it. That's the fun part of the game. It's experimentation. So next we're gonna move on to professions, and you can see this guy behind me. He is actually he's making stuff right now. You can see his hands are going back and forth. Probably making bandages, I'm assuming, because there's a first aid trainer right here. So when you get to learn professions, you are able to craft things that you can either use or sell, and so on and so forth. There's 2 types of professions. There's the crafting ones, and then there's the gathering ones. Okay, so the gathering ones consist of mining, so you can dig up copper, tin, iron, etc. throughout all different kind of ore through the game. There's skinning, so you can skin, dead beasts, dead animals, get their leather, get their hides. There's herbology here, sorry, herbalism, which, if you can see here, nearby herb bushes appear on the mini map. So you'll be able to pick different flowers and so on. And a lot of these things have combination results. So if you want to be an herbalist here, you would want to be an alchemist as well, because for alchemy, you're going to use the herbs to create potions. Okay? Skinning, you're going to do what? Cut the skin off, and what are you going to do with it? You're going to be a leather worker, And blacksmithing goes in hand with what? Mining, of course. Enchanting is probably one of the only ones, and engineering, where you don't necessarily need to have a second profession to go with it. So enchanting is pretty fun, where you can enchant your armor or items with buffs. So this one is permanently enchants bracers to increase the health of the wearer by 5. Okay. And these cost things. Now, these like strange dusts and lesser magic things, you're going to get these by, if I click over here, disenchant. So enchanting kind of comes with its own secondary, disenchant and enchant. So you don't need to have a second or a gathering one for this. So I would say, depending on your class, you'd want to pick something that's going to apply to you. So if you're a warrior, now warriors wear plate armor. Okay. So if you were a blacksmith, you could potentially craft your own gear and not have to worry too much about world drop or dungeon drop gear. So it's pretty handy. As a cloth wearer, like a mage here, you would want to be a tailor, because they can make their own cloth gear. So potentially right there, I wouldn't need to depend on dungeon drops, Any kind of rogue or hunter, or I think even shaman, they wear leather gear, and leather workers eventually end up making mail gear as well. So you can wear mail gear if you're a shaman. So that comes in pretty handy there too. So there's a lot of things, I would say back in the day we had literal guidebooks for this, which was absolutely insane. But, what game didn't have a a walkthrough with a guidebook for it? So I would go ahead, and if you want, do a little bit of research and say, hey, I want to start a human mage, or I want to start an orc warlock. What professions best equip or best help without that kind of character? And saying, okay, well, I'm going to be a herbologist, and I'm going to be a tailor. So that's perfect. Okay, moving on. If you have any questions, go ahead and just write them in the comments below. I'll try and address everything I can, because I know this is a lot. It's a lot to take in. So we'll kind of move on here on to add-ons. So add-ons are little programs that help either your user interface run smoother or differently, make it look different than the original WoW concept is. And it gives you added bonuses, like having a program that tracks quests for you. So like right now, I just clicked open my map, which is M. It's one of those keybinds. And if I go over here to this sword, it said, at war with the Scarlet Crusade, and I need to kill 5 Scarlet Friars, okay? So that is a quest right here, at war with the Crusade. So this shows my quests, and it shows me where on the map these are located, so I know where to go. So the weapon ones are going to be kill quests. The little bag ones are going to be loot quests. So you have to go loot, what is this? Spider venom. Okay. So they'll kind of give you a little bit extra guidance, instead of trying to, because back in the day you had to read the quest, okay, and try and figure out where to go. Travel south along the road, then east at the fork to the way station. So before any of these mods, you had to literally read every quest and try and find your way. So go south on the road, and then go east at the fork in the road, and then you'd find it. So it's a lot easier having mods to do things. Now this one down here is just a damage and healing counter. So none of this is really important at all, unless you're trying to, I guess, improve upon your build. So if you're trying to tweak little things like we said earlier with your talents, where it's changing your build a little bit and you're trying to squeeze out some more damage per second or more DPS, this is the only thing that's going to matter there. Otherwise, you can monitor. If I was in a group with 4 people, I would be able to see all of their damage or healing as well. You know, so if you're, I guess just trying to be the best at being you, and you want to make sure that you're, doing the best you can, this is great. You can sit there and try and gauge yourself against different mobs and different training bots, and make sure you're doing the best damage you possibly can. So it is kind of handy, but other than that purpose, I don't really see much benefit to having a damage counter, unless someone's really slacking and you're probably gonna kick them or something. But that's in group stuff. We'll get to that later. So to get add-ons and mobs in your game, it's actually really, really easy nowadays. So I'm gonna Alt Tab out here, and what we're gonna do is look for a program called Curse Forge. Okay, so this is what it looks like right here. So you can go to, I think it's just Curse Forge or overwolf.com, and you can download it for Windows, for Mac, for whatever. And you'll download this. It's going to scan for your game and say, oh, you've got World of Warcraft right here. Okay. So then you go into My Add-ons. Like if I went to my homepage right here, it's going to scan all the games you have. I got Pal World too. So I would click on World of Warcraft, okay? And now it says My Add-ons. These are all the ones that I have listed, okay? It's going to give you a featured thing where it says, hey, these are the top add-ons that people playing World of Warcraft are downloading. Like this one's got 250 million downloads, okay? Deadly Boss Mods. This is a huge add-on when it comes to boss fights, raid fights, so on and so forth. 524 million. Obscene number. Obscene. And then you can go to browse. Now this is where you're going to search for them. Okay, you can just go search right up here. So let's just search for that damage counter. Okay, so we're going to type in recount. Now that's the name of the mod that I just know that right here. And it says action up to date because I have it installed. Now if we want to do a different one, let's do details. Okay, that's another damage meter. Look at that. Install 250 million downloads. So all you would do to install it is click on the install button, downloading, copying files, updated. Now if I go into my add-ons, details is right here. And it applies it right to your game. It's super handy. So now when you get back to your game, you can hit your escape button and you're gonna go to add-ons. Now all of these should be clicked, and if anything's out of date, like my Atlas loot's out of date right now, Questy's out of date, this stuff says requires reload. So you gotta log out, log back in, okay? But it shouldn't say that because you're downloading it for the first time. So you'll have the most update version right when you download it, okay? So you'll get in here, and now say you get some errors or something, you can just click off of it, okay? Now it's not gonna use that ad. If you click off the whole thing, where is it? The whole thing goes away, see? But super handy. So like zpearl, this is my UI frame here, my character frame. Now I would probably go with, if you're gonna download mods for the first time ever playing this game, I would get Questy. That's fantastic to have. I would get some kind of frame rate or unit frames mod, just because like if you open this up, and don't mind this now because this is overwhelming, but you can move all this around. So with the regular Blizzard UI that they give you kind of standard, you can't move anything around. So the fact that these are freeform and you can just float them around the screen is I mean, I could put my guy down here if I wanted to. I could put wherever you want. It's fantastic. So I would get zpearl, I would get Questy, and that's probably about it, to be honest. You really don't need much beyond quest tracker right away, at least. Once you get into battles and into higher level stuff, it's nice to have like deadly boss mods, like I said. But anyway, so moving on from that, if you have any questions about add-ons, it can be really overwhelming, I know. Just ask in the comments or send a message or anything like that. I'll try the best I can to help explain. So I'm going to go back into this real quick because this is a lot of buttons and a lot of text and a lot of things happening for a new player to even try and understand. So this is the Z-Pearl kind of command bar, command section here, where you can adjust any section in here to kind of make this more for you. You can kind of, tailor this to what you need. So like global is going to be all of your settings. Player is just yours. So it's going to be a 3D portrait. See how it's kind of flashing up at the top here? If I click on it, now I have an actual animated portrait. If I take it off, now it's a static portrait. You can change it to class portrait, so because I'm a mage, it goes to the mage staff. You can do extend portrait, which is kind of, I don't know, that's preference, I guess. But so you can kind of tiptoe through the stuff. I wouldn't change a lot of it, to be honest. There's not much you need to do here unless you're doing some specific targeting kind of stuff. So as a new player, you shouldn't have to worry about tweaking with any of this stuff, really. But once again, if you have the urge to, kind of go in and you want a good, efficient setup, go ahead and Google it. I mean, we kind of do it on the daily. Google the most updated settings. Like, hey, if I want to do this, that, and the other thing, Google those things. You might be surprised at what you find. Other than that, though, as overwhelming as all this information is, once you kind of work it through, the game comes much more friendly to play too. You're not going to be sitting here searching around for things 24/7. Your screen's going to be pretty clean. I like a tidy screen. So I mean, things are looking a lot cleaner. You can even close the quest tracker here, and if I wanted to, I could move it around. So I can move it, over here. If I wanted to have all my stuff to one side, I could move it right there, and now this whole area, this whole side is just nice and orderly and clean. I could put this over here if I wanted to also. So do things to how you want it. Kind of, I mean, that's the fun of this game, is you can tailor a lot of this stuff to what you want to do, so you don't need to sit there and kind of, with add-ons, you don't have to accept what original Blizzard had to offer as far as user interface and efficiency and questing and all that. You can tweak it a little bit. It's pretty nice. So we'll move on from that. That's a huge topic, I know. Like I said, any questions, go ahead, spit them at me. I'll see if I can do my best to answer them. So we can go ahead and I'm going to assign that talent point that we did before. Now, I honestly can't remember a talent build for classic style frost mages, so I'm probably just going to go with kind of a basic one. We'll do that. Now, that's going to make my opponents, me be able to hit them better, them less likely to resist my hits, which is pretty handy. Now, we briefly went over yellow and red mobs in the first one. So remember, we were killing, I think it was the lynxes. So they were yellow. So now this guy is red, this decrepit Darkon. Remember, if we said if they're red, they will aggro to you, or they'll be attracted to attack you. If they're yellow, like say this fella, let's create a dust bat, I can get as close as I want to them, and they're never going to attack me. They'll only attack me if I attack them, right? So this guy, and he's a little bit lower level, and this is kind of where a little bit of nuance comes in, where the closer you get to a mob that is your level or higher, the more they're going to aggro to you. So, I mean, this guy, I can get pretty close to him, and he's not going to aggro to me. I'm 3 or 4 levels higher than him, right? Now, if it was, say, a level mob that was 13, I couldn't get nearly as close as that. He would probably aggro to me right away. So the more disparity in higher level than you are, the bigger aggro range. So if you can imagine like a bubble around this character, and I can't, go past this area. This is the line that, I'm gonna aggro to them right there. Something like that. That's when they're gonna be attracted to me. And the higher the level disparity, the bigger that bubble gets. You know, so if you're in a tight area where you're walking down a path like this, and there's guys over here, and there's guys over here, and over here, and over here, you really kind of have to weave in and out, or just go around completely if you're not prepared to just wipe them out and get the experience and kill them. But if you're in a hurry to go do something, you've only got an hour left to play, and you gotta get these 3 quests done. Well, time management says, okay, let's just go around, or we'll kill one and then go through. But it's good to know aggro ranges, because hey, sometimes you might walk up and see the guy, oh crap, that guy's like 10 levels higher than me. I can't even get close to him. So, because it happens, you'll walk through an area and all of a sudden you realize, oh, I just switched to a new map, a new area. Oh, cool, what is this? And then you realize, oh, that guy is like 10 levels higher than me, and he could kill me in one shot. So, little things like that. And hey, a lot of it's trial and error. I mean, you might walk into somewhere and then you might get smoked, and hey, you're dead. You go walk back, get your corpse. And if you ever see any mob like this, so you can see where their level is. This is level 6. If it's ever a skull, you can just turn around and walk away. So they'll most likely one-shot you or two-shot you, and any ability you cast on them, their level is 10 levels higher, and your ability will most likely miss or be resisted. So there is not even a chance you should probably attack them. You should just run. Now, moving on from that stuff. Kind of give me any questions you guys have in the comments about stuff you want me to cover. Like I said, I'm a average, moderate World of Warcraft player, so I'll do my best to answer anything you guys need. But as far as this first one goes, I think we did cover quite a bit. Or the second one was, we covered quite a bit, and it's a lot to take in. And if you want to just ignore all of it, that's fine. Like, when I first started playing, I didn't learn anything. I didn't do any research, nothing. I just started playing the game. I figured, oh, look at all these freaking buttons. Look at all this stuff to do. There's all these different hotkeys to open up things, and it's like, oh man, what is all this? And you trial and error it out, which is a great way to learn too. So, but I highly recommend getting some of the add-ons though. They'll make the game much more streamlined as far as questing goes, because man, it is so much nicer to have at least a map as to where you're going, even if your map isn't filled out. So you can see right here, this is all kind of not grayed out, but it's not illuminated like the rest of the map is until you go somewhere and you kind of get, oh, discovered Whisperwind Path or whatever it is. It's not going to illuminate, but with the quest app, it still shows you where the stuff is, which is super handy. Without that, you'd be wandering around, a mine trying to find one dude or something,
What now?
So,
watch your back. Goodbye.
Anyway, yeah, we covered a lot today, folks. And I know it's a short half-an-hour video, and it's a lot to cram in there, and hopefully I didn't rush through too much of it. Like I said, if you have to, just kind of go back and listen to some things again. But other than that, we'll give this one a quick end. And I'll probably do a starter video for a character creation video with War Within as well, because if Classic isn't your thing, I'll do one for War Within to kind of get everybody on the same page there too. Because if you're a brand new player, or you're thinking about buying, the newest World of Warcraft for your 12-year-old nephew, something like that, this would be a good video to show them. Or you can watch it and you can say, hey, let's start a character together. We can do this together. It'd be a lot of fun. So anyway, until next time, folks, I'll keep you posted on videos. This one will probably go up the evening of the 22nd, I'll say. But other than that, have a good night. Happy hunting.